Do you remember the Three Kings arc of Yu Yu Hakusho when Yusuke met Kuroko Sato, the former spirit detective, and her husband Shogo, who offered to read Yusuke's fortune? I certainly do, because it set up what could have been one of the greatest arcs in anime. Shogo foresaw a danger stemming from a great separation between Yusuke and his friends, and that very separation would be made in blood. Now, Togashi had to rush the ending of Yu Yu Hakusho, so this plotline didn't come to fruition in the way many expected. But the fascinating thing is that Togashi has laid the foundation for this exact plotline to take shape in his other notable work, Hunter x Hunter, a separation made in blood that may end with Killua killing Gon. You see, last year Togashi revealed multiple potential endings for the Hunter x Hunter series. If you recall, Togashi predicted each ending would be received radically different by the fans, with one he suspected would have a dissatisfaction rate of 90%. That one just so happens to be his personal favorite of all the potential endings, which is why it cannot be ruled out. The other endings range from near universal satisfaction to being roughly 50-50. I'm not sure which one of these endings could apply in the scenario that Killua does kill Gon, but I'm leaning towards the one with the highest dissatisfaction rate. That's because Gon is a very likable protagonist, and it's very risky to kill off the protagonist of the series. Now, if it's done organically, fans may respond more positively to it, which is why this could in fact apply to all potential endings Togashi laid out. And Killua killing Gon would be shocking, but would it really? The signs are certainly there if you look for them. Their friendship has been put to the test, and more often than not, it has been by Gon, because this kid is freaking unhinged. And let's be honest though, Gon and Killua have one of the most wholesome, genuine, and endearing friendships in all of anime. I've never seen a relationship this pure. Two characters that seem to be soulmates, if you believe in that. Kindred spirits that were destined to cross paths. One can't help but smile and be invested when the two of them are on screen together, training together, playing together, laughing together, and even experiencing tragedy together. A bond that strong should be able to withstand anything. And yet, Hunter x Hunter is not an anime where everyone will get a happy ending. Togashi will not allow it, if his health permits. The ending of Yu Yu Hakusho had a pretty happy ending for all the main characters, but again, he had to rush the final arc of that series. One of the potential endings given for Hunter x Hunter is a similarly happy one, if Togashi is unable to finish the series on his own terms. And it features Gon growing old and having children and grandchildren of his own. But honestly, Hunter x Hunter is so good, I wouldn't mind if there were 4 fully fleshed out alternative endings for the fans, so they could just argue about which one is the best one. But the health of the author must always come first, and I just don't see that happening. It's most likely that the ending we've already gotten for the series will be its definitive conclusion. And I think most of us would be okay with that. It's a typical shonen ending, and a pretty positive one at that. But on the off chance that this alternative ending does come to fruition, where Gon and Killua do have to fight it out, potentially to the death, let's discuss how it could happen. And we should begin by going over some of the warning signs. In the very first arc of the series, Killua faces his older brother Illumi in the final test of the Hunter exam. And he flat out tells Killua that if he stays with Gon, he will end up wanting to kill him one day. Now, some may consider this foreshadowing, and others may consider it as Illumi simply playing mind games with Killua. He is a manipulator after all, and the Zoldycks clearly don't know Killua as well as they think they do. Killua genuinely likes Gon, considers him a friend, and hates being an assassin, and has intentionally tried to suppress his impulses whenever killing isn't necessary. I can't imagine a scenario where Killua would want to kill Gon, but I can imagine some scenarios where he has no choice but to do so. Still, my first thought when hearing Illumi say that was, well, that's ominous. Another instance that pops up in my mind may seem insignificant on the surface, but it's something that could really be a catalyst for Gon's descent into full darkness, an abyss far worse than anything we saw during the Chimera Ant arc. During the York New City arc and Greed Island arc, there are moments where Gon flat out tells Killua that he's allowed to be reckless because he knows Killua will be there to stop him if need be and bring him back. One noteworthy example I can think of is when Moral wants to test Gon before the palace invasion, and Gon imagining what he'd do when he came face to face with the person responsible for Kite's death, temporarily loses himself. Killua is the one that has to bring him back to reality. And as Gon apologizes to Moro, he admits he was actually going to kill him and thanks Killua for stopping him. Later on in the arc, Killua is not there to stop Gon when he is facing Neferpito, and we see what happens. Gon snaps, and the consequences are immense. Reason never works on an enhancer. Those words have been uttered throughout the series by many people, most notably by Nobunaga. And he would know his best friend was an enhancer. But I think those words will highlight the contrast between Gon and Killua's eventual rift. Gon will have a black and white view of something, and Killua will see the gray, the various nuances and complexities of that same situation. The only problem is, when Gon thinks he's right, no one can convince him that he's wrong. And with the two of them currently going their separate ways, in both the anime and manga, it leaves room for them to develop their world philosophies free from the influence of the other. It remains to be seen whether that will be a positive or a negative for their individual growth, but it does make the build-up for their eventual reunion much more interesting. I can see Gon growing more and more unhinged as the series progresses. He's such a wild card that it's hard to predict what he's going to do while everyone else is headed to the Dark Continent. But he doesn't seem like the type to just sit around and do nothing. A time skip could be incorporated very well here, with it occurring over the events of the Dark Continent arc, and us returning to Gon and Killua when they're both teenagers and much more adept with using Nen, given Gon discovers how to reawaken his after losing it. As for Killua, I was concerned that he may make a deal with his family to keep Aluka safe, in exchange for him having to carry out his duties as an assassin, but he seems to have kept enough distance from them in order to have a peaceful life with Aluka. I do believe Killua may learn some tricks from his father and grandfather in order to fully master Nen, though, and if that's the case, Killua is going to be an absolute beast when he returns, and I can't wait to see that. Gon's eventual clash with Killua may end up being the greatest fight in anime history. Not just because of the battle itself, but because of the narrative implications and emotional toll it will have on everyone in the series, and the readers as well. If you thought Naruto vs. Sasuke was intense, this may top even that. Gon's dad? No, not that one. This one. I'm talking about Leorio. He's always been very protective of Gon, as is Kurapika. And speaking of Kurapika, he may feel indebted to Gon and want to save him from his darkness, just like Gon did for him. It'll be particularly interesting to see what role they play in this. Can you imagine the battle? Two Nen masters, each with fully realized potential that you only see, as described by their masters, as 1 in 10 million, taking the best power system in all of anime and pushing it to its very limit. I just know we're going to see things we've never imagined. And like I said, the emotional toll this will have is going to be immense. We've all wanted to see Gon versus Killua, and the build-up to this fight will be insane. It won't be like any of their little sparring sessions that are brief and usually happen off screen. It'll be a clash of philosophy between two best friends, one of the greatest friendships we've seen in fiction, let alone anime itself, mind you. We've seen them grow together and form a genuine love for each other. It'll be incredibly heartbreaking, but very interesting if it's under the context of Gon going off the deep end, much like Yusuke was feared to do when he became the very demons he was fighting in his own series. This story may end with the lovable, innocent Gon transforming into an unhinged version of himself, and Killua having to fulfill his original duty as an assassin, being forced to take Gon out for his own good and for the well-being of everyone else. Because, like many times before, Killua must always be there to stop Gon from going too far, even if it means killing him. But this is just one theory, one of the many theories on how the end of Hunter x Hunter could unfold. Do you guys think there's any merit to this theory? What do you think the catalyst for this would even be? And if Gon and Killua do end up having to face each other, be honest. Who would you root for? I know that's a hard thing to answer since we don't know the context. But give it a shot anyway in the comments down below. Let me know how you think this would even happen. Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out as a new YouTuber. Check out some other anime vids on the channel if you're interested. And yeah, thanks for watching.